name is Walter Bowne. I teach English at Eastern High School in Voorhees, New Jersey. Got my master's in English at Arcadia University. I don't know who said that a really good editor takes a poodle and turns it into a lion. But
I'm going to finish with this one.
I use that a lot, though. I should find out who said that. But I'd like to thank Julia Chang, who, when I first submitted this, she says it's good, but you might want to go back and think about it and redo it and send it to me again. And when you hear an editor say that, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do it. So I started doing it right away. And then I submitted it, and then she liked it, and then she edited it and turned it into something that's a lot better than when I submitted it. It's called Vanishing Acts, and this is about taking my daughter to an art class and what I was doing for 2 hours while she was doing that. Vanishing Acts. For 10 weeks last spring, I drove my daughter Madeline down to Elmer, New Jersey for Saturday morning art classes. I was irritated that my day of rest had been hijacked. So while Madeline drew at Apple Farm, I cruised around the small town with the big welcome to find a warm place to wait and maybe grade a few essays. After all, what else was there to do in Elmer? The cultural distance between Elmer and my home in Mulligan Hill seemed more like a 3-day road trip than a bullet shot 20 minutes south. Surrounded by defrosting, soy, and spinach fields, Elmer at first reminded me of a hamlet in Iowa that was 40 funerals away from a ghost town. In the middle of the town, a derelict grain elevator rose defiantly in rusted sandstone. Nearby, a police car idled in a church lot with "No Tolerance for Speeders" signs posted along Main Street and Broadway. At noon, the bank closed. Old homes maintained a dignified grace while waiting repair. Signs at the 3 closed dealerships directed visitors to visit the showrooms in Vineland. Of course, I already heard that St. Anne's was vanishing into the larger parish in Mulligan Hill. Even the small Elmer Library was closed. Then I found an open coffee shop on Main Street, no bigger than a Victorian bedroom. As soon as I entered, a girl with wavy, shoulder-length brown hair said, "Good morning, honey." Her voice as warm as buttermilk. It was the honey, I imagined, that made their coffee sweeter than Wawa's. Odd, though, she called me honey, since I was twice her age. In front of the counter stood a stout, shaggy-haired man, middle-aged, clothed in a heavy brown jacket, jeans and steel-toe boots cracked with yesterday's mud. He leaned over the counter, holding his cup of Green Mountain coffee, engaged in a lopsided flirtation. On the left of the rusty hinged door, in a setup resembling a pipe organ, 12 coffee blends in thin, black urns welcomed the weary. I pumped my own hazelnut decaf, added a dash of flavored creamer, and muttered a brief hello. The picked-over bagels and blueberry muffins didn't tantalize me. In beautiful script, a board in pastel charts advertised a decadent drink menu, but I rarely drink my calories. I picked up a coffee club customer card and was embarrassed when I didn't have cash. They didn't take credit or debit. Smiling, the girl told me not to worry, and she stamped my card. "You can pay me when you come back," she said, writing my name on a tablet. I didn't know the honor system still worked in Jersey. I sat at the lone wood table by the bay window, the window half bathed in early spring sun. A curio shelf displayed teapots for sale and Keurig single-serving coffees. On the wall, watercolor prints of Victorian houses hung in oak frames. I checked the time on the white enamel clock with pink roses. It was stuck at 5 after 10. Finding excuses not to grade essays from my high school English classes, I even checked out the local paper. I couldn't concentrate because soon the counter guy's entire family descended like those flocks of white birds I'd seen in the half-frozen fields. His wife, who looked 20 years older than her husband, wore gray sweatpants. There were 3 daughters, the oldest probably a sophomore in high school, and a lanky preteen son who sat in the chair opposite me, silent, head down, bangs covering his eyes. It took 5 minutes for everyone to order. The eldest grabbed the yoo-hoo, the middle girl ordered a smoothie, and the young girl asked for hot chocolate with whipped cream. But the boy just shrugged. Why is your son so shy?" the counter girl asked. "He thinks you're so good-looking, he doesn't know what to say," the father said. She chuckled, and I looked over my essays to register the poor kid's reaction, but he just murmured, "I guess I'll have a hot chocolate too." I wanted to paraphrase Philip Larkin, that parents really mess you up. But I was raised in the mind-your-own business suburbs, so I just stuck to my business of grading student papers. After 10 minutes, the gang left and led their mother up Main Street. The father followed a few minutes later. Why didn't he come and go with his family? Did it have anything to do with the 20-year-old girl? Could it be he was just being neighborly? Even though the wife complained about the money, the outing must have been a ritualized Sunday morning scene. The order was almost $20. A pack of Swiss Miss brewed at home would have cost $1.49 from the local Super Value. But the outing wasn't about hot chocolate. The girl shook her head, wiped the counter, and told me, "It's nice to have quiet." I nodded and smiled, even though I didn't agree. I enjoyed the dialogue. Soon an older woman entered. She was a head taller than the counter, with talcum white hair and a yellow scarf. "Busy today, Jessie?" "Earlier it was very busy," Jessie replied. "Nice day, ain't it?" she observed, unraveling her scarf. "Before you know it, the crocuses will be out." The mayor entered through the creaky door. It was still 5 minutes after 10. He was tall and stocky and full of warmth. The door slammed behind him. "How have you been?" the mayor asked. "A little under the weather. Joe's got sick for a couple of days." She looked under the counter and complained rhetorically, "No poppy seed bagels left?" The mayor volunteered as a scout leader, I overheard. There were 2,000 packages of food donations coming in at the Presbyterian church. Just then, a fire truck wailed down Main Street. They all went outside to chart the route of the truck. In this town, every fire was personal. Once, back inside, the scarf lady approached me, holding her cup with both hands for warmth. On my right was a half-completed community puzzle on the rickety green folding table, a picture of Frank Lloyd Wright's pencils. I know that because the box was upside down. The lady glanced at me, half-grinned, and said, picking up a loose piece, "Oh, this one looks hard." She examined the puzzle the way I had been examining the pieces of Elmer. The price of my coffee was rent for the sunny table by the window to listen to small-town America, to enjoy the gossip, banter, chit-chat. During that Saturday, I heard an elderly man with a green hat confab as he collected unused copies of the Elmer Times. I heard the milk delivery guy, the Reverend of the First Presbyterian Church, Peggy the school teacher, the guy who sold farm equipment,